Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if everything works. If you can, that'd be nice. Um, and then we'll get rolling. It should work though. Always the same setup. Looks good to me. Okay, let me quickly tweet and then I'll get going. We pumping? I mean, it is pumping, yeah. And I'm actually quite positive for a change. So maybe this is the month where it all breaks down, but I'm actually quite positive. So um, yeah. Good times, good times. Thanks for joining me. Um, most are probably gonna watch the football game, Champions League. All my friends are right now. They're out at a bar, drinking, watching it, and I'm sitting inside streaming. So that is something, but I don't mind it too much. Hi Don, already sold your Charlie Lee coins, so still on holiday. I still have them, for better or worse. Still on holiday, but yeah. Before I start the show, I want to give FTX, the sponsor of the show, a shout out. They've been amazing to work with. You should really check them out if you use your mobile for any kind of trading. The links to them are in the description. So yeah, check out FTX. And yeah, how are you guys doing? Everyone doing all right? Everyone enjoying life? Hopefully. Um, um, Pomalo Wooden says, "Are you low key nagging about doing the stream?" No, no, no. I'm actually quite happy that I have like an excuse. It's been tough. Too much sun, um, and too much activity. So I'm quite happy that I can get some time off. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this, right, it looks quite okay actually. Last month closed. I mean, this is obviously a red candle, right? And it's obviously not pretty, but it closed in the best way it could have, considering that it's a red candle, which is directly at support, directly at range low, which makes makes it easy to be higher time frame bullish, even though there's like a few things that make it a little bit worse that we can talk about. One of them being obviously when you hit support, right? You would like to just bounce, never return. That's much more bullish than just retesting. Um, but yeah, that's one thing. Second thing is obviously the bounce, right? Like you go all the way to support pretty fast, and then the bounce is pretty slow, and then the nuke is pretty fast again. So that's not the best thing in the world, but it is what it is. Just how life goes. Um, and then the third thing is that yeah, we just tested this twice already, the support. So the more often we test it, the worse it gets, right? So like there's three things. I think I didn't repeat myself. If I did, blame it on my head being in the sun for too long. But yeah, that's like the three things. But there's one thing that we never do, right? Collectively, or should never do, and that's being bearish at monthly support, right? It's just a bad idea, and this is still monthly support. So here we are at monthly support being somewhat bullish again, right? So yeah, it's at least some good news, right? Usually I have to hit you with the bad news. This time there's some good news. Different mic? Yeah, it's a different mic. Hope it's not too bad. I broke the one that I brought with me, so I'm just using my flying headphones, noise canceling thingies with like an inbuilt microphone. So not the quality that you're used to, but hope it's okay. The $10 one? No, 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 no. Like I always fly with noise canceling headphones from, I think it's Sony, whatever. I always forget. They're pretty decent. WHX4 something. Um, so yeah, that's the high time frame stuff. This like while it doesn't look really good, right? It doesn't look bad, and I mean this has some promise, especially given that like if you would have to paint a target, where do you want to like take profit if you buy monthly support? It's at monthly resistance, right? And monthly resistance is very far away from here, which is basically, I mean, now it's at 40K, but when we were hitting monthly support, was at 37, all the way to 56, right? So that's like a nice little gain. Um, Obviously, the downside is quite large as well. If you really want to talk about like monthly supports below this one, the next one is 14K, right? But given that, even though this looks like a long and big range, there's only a few candles in this, so it can go on for much longer. Given that, I think even if we want to go down like all the way to the next monthly support, which is quite low, it doesn't really make much sense to just go straight there. So unless, of course, the S&P nukes, which is always the elephant in the room, but that's been bouncing a little bit. Um, and obvious, like one cool thing is that we've actually been strong on the bounces and weak on the sell-offs. This is something that we wrote in the newsletter, which we published today. You should check it, trletter.com, if you haven't signed up yet. But there's something that we wrote in the newsletter where the S&P and the Nasdaq both broke monthly support, and Bitcoin actually hasn't, right? So Bitcoin still had support, the S&P very much not so. So that's like a positive divergence because we want to be as decorrelated as we can. And while like a bunch of people have been shouting decorrelation the entire way down, this is actually one that is worth mentioning, in my opinion. So it's worth kind of keeping an eye on that. Hello, guys. Ich bin on holiday again. Let me talk about candlesticks with my microwave mic. I'm clearly very active and involved in this market, Quack. Fuck you, Cred. Says the one that just got back from a holiday. Um, I will not take any bullying. And I don't think this. It's just like I listened to this microphone before, and it definitely doesn't sound like a microphone wave. Jesus, microwave microphone. Why was that so difficult? But maybe I'm just tripping. Um, Subduck, you bought? No, I still have my Litecoin, but other than that, I cannot buy. Like I didn't take anything with me. But like I'm pretty sure, and this is obviously easy to say in hindsight, but I would like to have bought and I would like to buy this monthly support. But it's just when I get back, it's probably moved way beyond that. Like I think there's a good chance that we're not trading in this area anymore. In the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to be back from holiday in 2 weeks. By that time, I think we're probably going to be above 45K or no, I think like either 45K or still like down here somewhere. So yeah, everyone on CT is expecting a capitulation. What your opinion on that? I think it's everyone on CT, right? And this, like we're saying this, we're talking about the capitulation while this is mooning, right? Which is quite nice on the lower time frames. But everyone on CT said this cannot top without a blow off top. And then we fucking topped and went down a shitload. And now that we've went down a shitload, everyone is like, this cannot go up without a capitulation event. And it's just like so dumb. Like this has obviously not done like a blow, like a traditional blow off top. It doesn't have to do it. No market has to do anything really. Like if someone tells you the market can only top one way and only bottom another way, then they're full of shit. It's not that easy, right? And you kind of have to look at these things in like people are like, okay, 2018 played out this way, so this has to one to one play out the same way. It's obviously a very different market. For one, back then we're trading at 6K, now we're trading at 40K, right? this market is much, much bigger now. It's obviously going to trade differently. So if you expect it to play out the exact same way, you're not going to get it. There is like an argument to be made, a very valid one, that it's going to play out in a similar way, or can play out in a similar way, but that's a different story, right? You don't have to have anything in any market. So you're buying 45K. We'll see. We'll see. If we're at 45K when I get back, I might buy it and take it to like 56. But at that point, the risk reward is much, much worse than it is now. So yeah, that's not entirely sure on that one. But yeah, that's the monthly. Like I said, we're at monthly support. You can ask Fred about this. I actually like spammed him with like this shit looks kind of shit, but at the same time kind of looks good. um, and I kind of feel like that's the market in general right now, where like Bitcoin looks quite nice in a weird way because it really like it doesn't look appealing, but it's actually at monthly support, and it's also depending on how you want to draw levels on the weekly. It's also on weekly support, right? So we had a, a close at support on the weekly. We're bouncing from that right now, and I think as long as we don't close below this, it's actually much, much more likely to go up than down, right? So short term and in general, the monthly being at support just makes me think it's more likely to chop in the upwards direction rather than do anything else. But yeah, the weekly is also interesting. I think you can play momentum because this is still quite shaky, right? This is just news driven, FOMO, whatever, people shorting into a news event, which is FOMC, right? I always mix up the letters, but um, it's basically a news event that's happening right now, and you can see that the traditional markets, the S&P, for example, they're putting in wild moves. We're putting in wild moves, right? It's not like this is just crypto, but even then, like close that weekly support, bouncing, and I think if you want to make a momentum play because you don't like the news-driven play right now, which I mean I totally get, like it going up here from there, right? So from like 42, 43K, if we start breaking out above there, I think that's a good chance we go to like 55. And then you have like the biggest meme thing on the planet on the chart, which is gonna make people lose their fucking minds. And then we'll see how that goes, right? No idea. I don't want to make any predictions, but it'd be kind of funny to have like this kind of pattern on the weekly chart in crypto. But wouldn't be the first time. So yeah, that's kind of the momentum play that I can see. You can also play a momentum play to the downside, but that's much more difficult, just based on the fact that we've already nuked 50%. But I think if we start losing 38K, so the support that we're bouncing from right now, there's a good chance that we are actually gonna head towards this support. So like a little bit of a down movement, and then maybe we bounce a tiny bit. But I think at that point, I think would make sense to go middle 20Ks ish. So yeah, it's like a pretty nice spot. It's okay, we can't tell because of the microwaving. Jesus Christ. You're gonna make me buy a fucking mic on my vacation. Do I have to like go on Amazon and just like get like a mic flown in or something? I've listened to this and it's not been too bad, but I'm not entirely sure. Litecoin is bailing you out. Yeah, let's fucking go. Litecoin's actually bouncing a little bit as well, which is nice because I mean this is no like if this moves isn't of no skill of mine, it's just me being stubborn or basically not closing a position before leaving. But yeah, that'd be nice. Like Litecoin against Bitcoin is going up. Litecoin against USD. Let me see. Let me see if I'm making any shekels. Yeah, also going up. Nice. Obviously, given Bitcoin's going up, but yeah, still has to go a little bit to get me to break even. Actually, quite close. I think 108-ish is my average. Um, So yeah, that's that. That's the higher time frames. The lower time frames, we're trading into resistance right now. That said, right, look at this. This resistance has been retested before. And with these kind of retests, like I never short these ones where you only have a few candles between the actual retest and the next retest, right? So like when you have like a breakdown, this is so difficult with like a trackpad. Is that called a trackpad? I think it is. Whatever. Um, like if you have like if you have a support test and then you immediately retest it, I usually don't want to be buying that, right? And it's the same thing um, at resistance, just even more so because I mean it's easier to buy stuff than to sell stuff. But if you have like a retest and then you immediately retest it, like this should have gone down on the first retest. Now sometimes this double retests and it plays out, but at that point it's just not a good setup. It obviously doesn't mean this has to go, right? It just means that the setup is a shitty one, in my opinion. So I don't really sell on second retests, or I try to avoid buying on second support tests. But sometimes you just, I mean, buying kind of okay-ish sometimes because buy walls just kind of hold it up longer, whereas like selling at resistance that does this just scary. So yeah, the daily's like at resistance, but that resistance is not one that I would want to be shorting into, right? Huh. What a start to a stream. I haven't been talking bullish in so long. It's nice. And this is like, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying bear market over, we're going to 150K. I'm just saying like we are at support on the monthly, we're at support on the weekly, we're support like we're kind of running into resistance on the daily, but then again it's a shit resistance. And that like all of these three things combined just make me think that yeah, there could be a bounce. And the bounce, I think if you get like a proper bounce, I think it could take us all the way to 52-ish. So there you go. Will altcoins run harder if we go up? If we go up, there's a chance they do, yes. More often than not, they do. I mean, you can just look at this list here on the right side, even though it's boomer coins, right? Most of this stuff is against Bitcoin. And then you see like ETH BTC is up like a tiny bit against Bitcoin. Litecoin BTC up a tiny percent against Bitcoin. XRP, same thing. Bitcoin Cash, all of this, right? The only thing that's down is Dogecoin, which is fucking hilarious because I mean, Elon basically like controls, or like at least he said he'd buy Twitter, right? And it's basically like probably gonna happen, right? Is it already confirmed? I've not been using the internet for a while. I've been checking on the charts, but I've not been checking the news. Doesn't really matter, but like this is like Elon Musk having Twitter in his hands should pump Dogecoin, right? The fact that it's not just shows how shitty altcoins have been in general, and that makes me think like these like pumps can and will most likely be short-lived unless we have like a massive Bitcoin pump, right? And even then, like if Bitcoin pumps to like 52K in one candle, which I'm not entirely expecting, I think like if it goes up, there's a good chance that it just chops upwards. But like let's say Bitcoin mega rallies, right, goes up really hard, there's a chance that the Bitcoin pairs are going to go down, right? But yeah, if you like trading altcoins more and you're bullish Bitcoin, might as well be bullish altcoins as well. Just look at the Twitter price. The market tells you how likely it is that the deal goes through. That's actually fair. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. It's actually like this low time frame stuff, like the news induced low time frame stuff, and you can't even appreciate it well enough on the higher time frames. But this kind of price action is fucking hilarious every time. you get news events and people lose their minds and they trade like apes, and then algos jump in and it all gets crazy. And like, I wish that this wasn't like that, these charts wouldn't look so similar. The only saving grace for now is that, like I said, the monthly looks different on Bitcoin than it does on the S&P. So I think like if the S&P goes up, right, I think Bitcoin is going to outperform. It starts getting problematic if the S&P starts breaking supports even more, like if it goes down like 10% on top of what it's already done, because at that point we're going to lose important structure on Bitcoin, and then it's going to be difficult to kind of keep the strength that it has been showing. How much value do you give to the break of market structure on the 3-day time frame on ETH? At the current stage, it also looks like a higher low. Do you think it's possible it will tap weekly supply? I mean, the 3 days isn't really something I watch religiously, but we can throw it up. In general, we had monthly support on ETH as well, even though it is quite big monthly support. But let's throw up your 3-day and see what's what. I mean, yeah, I mean, I see what you're getting at. You're basically saying, okay, that's a low here, there's a higher low here, a small one, but it's there, and we're putting in a higher low here, right? It's a little bit early to say that. And I think if you really want to be saying that, I think it makes more sense to say it above 3K, right? Because this is still major resistance, and I can show you this on the, I think it's on the daily. Yeah. So you start going above 3.1K, you break the resistance, and then starts looking good. This resistance is actually really nice. Like the support resistance line on the 3-day, even though it's not drawn for the 3 days, is actually quite nice. You can also use this one. And then if you start closing above there, 3.6K is the next stop, but that's been tested already. So like this is the line in the sand for ETH where it actually starts looking good again. But yeah, it's not made lower lows so far. But I think in general ETH, and I mean I've gone over Bitcoin, so I might as well go over ETH. ETH is a little bit more choppy than Bitcoin is, and the structure is just less clear, right? So I talked about the monthly, and we are at support there. Looks pretty much like roughly the same as Bitcoin does. But then you look at the weekly, right, and you can see how like far from support or resistance or anything this is really. Like let's actually, let me move this. So there's resistance right here, and there's support down here, which is really, really shitty one. But I mean, I guess like you kind of have to have something on the chart before 2K, right? But this is really tough to trade in comparison to Bitcoin just because it's so choppy. Because where do you get your entry, right? You look at Bitcoin, you look at the weekly chart, you're like, oh shit, this close to the weekly support. Maybe I'm gonna take like an entry. And I mean, that's somewhat reasonable. And then you go to ETH, and you're like, okay, this closed in the middle of nowhere. What am I going to do? And then you have to go back to Bitcoin. And there's something that you can obviously do, right? Just buy ETH when you think Bitcoin looks good. But just ETH on its own is just pretty tough right now. It's very, very all over the place. So for me, it makes sense to just, even if you want to trade ETH, just trade it by using the Bitcoin chart, because this is just way worse than Bitcoin. Same on the daily, really. Like there's some levels that you could have used, but I'm not the biggest fan. I just think, yeah, you trade Bitcoin, even if you're trading ETH, basically. Hope that makes sense. At least ETH has the merge narrative, kinda. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But then again, I mean, is that I don't want to say it, but like with like ETH, they delay stuff over and over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like some delayage again. Um, but yeah, there's a narrative there, I guess. Did you ever try shrooms? Talking about ETH and then straight to shrooms, huh? Yeah, I have. Fucking love it. Um, but I don't really take drugs too often. If I take drugs, um, I do it with close friends and then like in a close circle, not to party with or do anything of that sort. That's not my kind of thing. Wow, Doug speaking from the washing machine again. Man, this sucks. I hate getting bullied. I don't deserve this. I only deserve the best. That's what my mother always told me. Um, so yeah, that's Bitcoin. We talked about ETH. ETH BTC really is a nothing burger, right? So we don't even like I can show you the chart and you're like, oh, this is why he's not talking about it. Um, it's just still ranging in the stupid range. We've been ranging in since it's been a year now. Wow. Yeah, so we've been ranging for a year basically, but with like an upwards trajectory at least. So that's that. But it's not exciting, right? This is just ETH being ETH. Takes forever to move, then goes like and outperforms Bitcoin on Bitcoin's biggest run. It's stupid. Um, I guess like it's been the better Bitcoin trade all along since the bottom basically, which is a nice thing in itself. But I would like to have like Bitcoin move and an ETH move and like have them offset a little bit, but can't have everything, right? So I could see that still be the case, right? ETH being the better Bitcoin trade. So you get bullish setups on Bitcoin, you just trade ETH. But yeah, there's not much there right now on the ETH BTC chart. Got rejected by resistance, went down a little bit, but only a tiny bit. And this seems to lose like a little bit of momentum on the pullback, but nothing significant really. You have the best washing machine. Man, oh, I'm just sitting here trying my best, making the stream happen while I'm on vacation, and this is what I get. This is what I get. And the wave's been shitty as well. Everything comes together. Everything. I mean, it's been shitty in the last day. Like today, it's been shit. In general, it's been okay. What's your take on people saying not to trade this year because you might get chopped up? That's fine. Yeah, I think that's a decent way to put whatever I've been putting in the last year. I mean, I've been saying you should not. I have actually been saying that. So if my take is kind of like I'd be stupid to say it's a stupid take because it's kind of my take. So favorite surfing location, it doesn't dox you. Um, I really like Fuerteventura. That's a lot of fun. I also like Morocco a lot. Um, but then again, like Spain, France, like there's some good surf, some good swells there as well. Doesn't really matter really where you go. There's good as long as like you have a good swell come in. There's good places almost anywhere. Portugal, yeah, Portugal is amazing as well. I love Portugal. And I mean the Portuguese are just really cool. Nazaré, nah, I haven't done that yet. Maybe at some point. Okay, so that's that. That's Eve. Litecoin, I don't want to talk about. I'm gonna jinx it if I do. And even like, yeah, it's just still a shit looking chart, right? So don't get your hopes up. But I mean, if you're still stuck in this garbage with me, I mean, at least it's going up. But like I said, there's not that much there. You could paint like RSI in here, and I'm sure there would be a divergence and stuff, but it's not what I do. This is just spray and pray, basically. Just close your eyes, see how it goes. Let's look at Soul. Oh, you're breaking my heart, man. Because that looks like garbage. But you said it, we shall do so. So Soul, right? Oh, what's with this chart? Soul against Bitcoin, kind of garbage, really. I mean, this is the place to put in a higher low, I guess, if you want to put in a higher low. But in general, this just got like absolutely blown out. Like you had like this break of resistance. So I mean, I guess the Bitcoin chart just didn't do its job properly, but the USD chart did. So let's look at that first. So Sol USD, right? You had this range, and this is why you look at both, because I mean, if this is just a clearer one, you have this range that broke to, or like this consolidation broke to the upside, held for test, broke down. And then what we had now was basically a perfect bearish retest, and it broke down. So best case scenario would obviously be that you kind of put in like a double bottom, whatever. But that's like, do you really want to buy in the hopes of that? And there's no real support. I don't actually know why this is here. There's no real support where we are right now, right? So you could buy it, could be decent, but like, is there setup there? Not really. And like I said, the Bitcoin pair doesn't really give you anything either. So Sol, not entirely sold on Sol. But yeah, if Bitcoin goes up, Sol USD is obviously going to go up as well, right? So if you like Sol more than you like Bitcoin, and you think Bitcoin is going to go up, you can trade that way, right? That's the kind of thing that you have to remember. Like me saying, okay, I don't like this too much. It's just me like not seeing an obvious setup and not seeing any like additional strength that I want to see for like a trade to take a trade like that. Jesus Christ. Me, sun, and salt water just don't mix. But I mean, it's a good life. It's a good life. Can you check out a non-dead coin? Thank you, thank you. What kind of non-dead coin do you want to look at? Because I mean, always like Link, dead coin. Okay, let's look at one that's more recent. Luna on the Bitcoin pair has been holding, just relying on that support, right? But on the USD pair, been taking a beating as well. I think Luna is probably as much as I hate to say it, Luna is an interesting one, just based on the fact that if Bitcoin is going to go up, like I think there's a chance that if Bitcoin goes down, this goes down like 50, 60, 70% beyond everything else, right? This just has like this capitulation opportunity. That said, if Bitcoin doesn't go down, I think there's a good chance that Luna actually outperforms, right? So this is one of the ones that's probably going to outperform if Bitcoin goes up. And if Bitcoin goes down, it's going to shit the bed so fucking hard. Like, it's not necessarily going to shit the bed if Bitcoin just goes down a little. But if Bitcoin goes down hard, Luna is just going to completely mega dump, right? So I talked about buying ETH if you think Bitcoin's bullish. This is that's the cracked up version of that. Basically, you're buying Luna if you think ETH or Bitcoin is bullish, and you're going to make more money if you're right. And if you're wrong, probably going to lose more money as well. And if you're really, really wrong, you're going to lose all your money. But it's what it is, right? But yeah, Luna is retested the resistance that we've been talking about perfectly, and then actually sold off quite a bit. That was actually like, it looks like it's just one candle, right? You might like disregard that as like whatever, right? But this is like a very big move. This is 20%, perfect retest hit, and then went down. Obviously, didn't have any follow through, right? And it's now in this indecisive state because people aren't sure whether Bitcoin is actually going to go up or down. And if Bitcoin goes up or down, this is going to follow. And if Bitcoin goes down, I think there's a good chance we go all the way down to 40. But if Bitcoin goes up, I think there's no way that $100 is going to reject this again. So that's a not dead coin, I guess, depending on how you look at it. And that's a setup for you. I'm pretty sure we talked about the setup like maybe last week or the week before, whatever, but like taking this setup. And I don't think you want to take that setup again. Like we tested our resistance, got the Pico top basically, and that setup is a shitty setup now, but was a pretty good one. And I mean, even if you only took it to like down there somewhere, you made your risk back on the short, which is not the worst in the world, and it's still in profit technically. But yeah, I would have probably closed already, just based on the fact that, like I said, I expect Bitcoin to chop upwards. Maybe, probably, could be wrong, could be right. Who knows? But I have a good feeling anyway. But that could just be me having having gotten too much sun. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, my gut feeling and my charts are telling me it's more likely to go up. Um, Luna is reflexivity in a nutshell. I mean, it's not been too much, but I think it's going to get more and more so until it completely breaks. But until then, it's going to be a good trade. And who knows when that break is going to occur, right? Luna can go and do much more crazy things. We've seen stuff go from very low market cap to very high. And then, I mean, for example, Link did this, right? Where Link was just always the better trade. Where is it? Link was always the better trade than Bitcoin for ages. And now it's been almost always the worst trade than Bitcoin ever since, right? It's just how these markets work. And it's going to be the same for Luna. It's just it's really hard to time, right? It looks really easy in hindsight. And I actually tweeted about it while it was happening. But I'm not entirely like for Link was pretty, people were going pretty nuts. The Marines were going completely crazy. The Luna people are pretty crazy as well, but not as delusional as the Link people have been, in my opinion. So um, there's some more craziness in the back, so it can go higher, get some more craziness in before it does what Link has been doing. And that can keep on going for like a quarter year, half a year, whatever. So um, I wouldn't count it out. It's been one of the stronger ones. Doesn't really make much sense to expect that to change anytime soon. And for the people that are asking about like the rate hike and why like we're getting like a positive move, it's basically when the rate hikes come in, right? And then I haven't been following the news, but what I'm just looking at the chart, right? What I'm suspecting is basically, and it's funny because nowadays like you can kind of see the news in by just glancing at the charts, right? But with the rate hikes, if they're as expected or lower as expected, price goes up, and if they're obviously higher than expected, then you get some fuckery. But most people expected um, 50, I think, and I don't know what we've got, but probably 50. Who knows? Who knows? You guys probably do because you're watching the news while I'm sitting here streaming. But that's kind of what I'm figuring. They're never higher, yeah. So that's why we're getting a pump every single time. Um, yeah, it's just a news-driven event basically, and I think people are getting really really bearish and stuff. So it's really easy to squeeze them out. You don't want to be. It's when you're shorting into a news event that a lot of other people short as well. You're just asking for it. You're like legitimately just asking for it. Are you streaming from the beach? No, not quite. Almost, but not quite. Uh, I wanted to make sure I have good internet this time, so didn't go to the beach because last time killed me. Um, so yeah, I had to make sure it's all good. So yeah, that's that. We talked about a few live coins. The S&P. We can talk about the S&P structure as well. So the S&P is actually rallying into monthly resistance right now, which we hate to see, obviously, because this is what we've been following, right? Um, but yeah, this is technically a break in market structure. Um, it's a really tiny one though, and the thing is with the S&P, it's been up only for so long, right? That you rarely get like breaks in market structure, but you don't really want to be discounting this one. Um, I think this is a bad look if we close like this, but we still have like a month left, right? So we have a month left to close this candle, and then we have another month to actually make the move, the next one, right? So if the S&P doesn't move from here, just goes to this resistance, we have one whole month, like this is going to take a month till it closes, and then it can be like 15, 20 days before the actual move comes afterwards. But yeah, if it closes like this, be a bearish retest, and that be like looking pretty bad TA wise. That said, like TA has been a meme for this um, for like a while. Problem is the monthly chart's been actually pretty nice, right? So yeah, like bullish retest here, moon, right? You have like a bunch of structure that kind of played out nice. And if you go all the way back to like meme 2007 and 2008 stuff, right? When you get like bearish retests, it's usually shit. Um, just like the only real, and it's absurd to say this about a crash, but the only real pullback that we've had, right? And that was off of like a bearish retest. So keep this one like in on the radar. But like I said, it can take a longer time and it can also just invalidate, which would be nice, right? But yeah, the monthly here, very, very different to the monthly on Bitcoin. So would be kind of nice if we chilled here for a month and then took another 10, 15, 20 days for like before it dumps. And then Bitcoin just runs during that time. That'd be my favorite kind of timeline, but that's a lot to ask. So not entirely sure if that's going to happen. Is your mic sponsored by Litecoin? Jesus Christ. I'm not going to stream again. This is it. This is it. You're going to have to be without me for the next 2 weeks, and I'll blame every single one that made a mic comment. This this is not okay. This is not okay. I did not sign up for bullying. I signed up for like a nice stream with friends, and then I'm getting this. This is not okay. um, it's all Cred's fault. It is. Blame him. Just DM him or at him and say he's a bully. Um, I love you, Duck. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ. I love you, Duck. It's because Craig making fun of you. It's so funny. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Um, you should go surfing with your headset. Imagine that. I'm just on the wave streaming about Bitcoin price action. Couldn't imagine anything nicer, right? That sounds like a blast. Um, so yeah, that's that. Litecoin's actually pumping. We're making money, or making money back is what it is. Um, actually, like it's always funny when you look at the low time frames, like how I'm getting rich, and then you entered the position like somewhere. Did I enter like half a month ago, or was it on this side? I don't actually remember. It's been too long, but it's actually not. It's not appreciated against Bitcoin since I bought it. That's for sure. Do you own stocks too, or are you all in crypto? I have a bunch of stuff, but I'm mostly a crypto kind of guy. Mostly, mostly, honestly, mostly cash kind of guy, which is stupid, but is what it is. I've been holding a bunch of cash because I've been like thinking about buying if something bad happens, right? And I mean, something bad did happen in crypto. Uh, and the stocks aren't really up either. So I mean, I guess I was right somewhat, but yeah, it's a position that I don't think many crypto folks kind of appreciate. So that's that. But yeah, I've been holding a lot of stables and a lot of cash basically, which is a headache in itself. Holding cash, you get problems with your banks and stuff. It is not fun. The banker managed to convince you to buy stocks when they summoned you? No, no. That's the worst way to get me to do anything. Okay, that's that. Let's talk about something else. What could we talk about? Dogecoin's actually fun to talk about because it's so hilarious looking. I feel pretty sad for the people that bought Dogecoin, thinking Elon Musk would take it to the moon, right? It's down quite a bit, and retail, as always, pretty much bought the top, right? Um, Even if you take it from here, it's down to 70% against Bitcoin, and then you open up the USD pair, right? And that's quite rough as well, where you have like a drawdown of 80%. it's starting to get into areas of support, but then you turn on log chart, right, and you realize that this is up from down here all the way up here. It's still like up 4K%. And this support is just pretty much the last leg of the rally, right? It's so far it's only retraced the last 2 weeks. Like, I mean, you can argue 4 weeks. Let's say the last month, and not even that, right? It still has to go like down 50% to retrace that. So still up quite a bit, but yeah, it's like looking at this, you think the Dogecoin holders are like a happy bunch because they made a bunch of money, but realizing that most of retail bought between like zero point 0.2 and 0.7 is quite tough. That said, I think it's going to be like it could be an interesting play with Elon Musk if the Twitter deal goes through. There's going to be like something happening to Dogecoin, and it's not really been the center of attention. But if you get a pump, I think that's going to be an exit pump, and you want to be selling into it, right? Dogecoin, I think, is pretty much done. It's gonna trade like Link. As much as I hate to throw my Linkies under the bus, it's gonna trade like this, where any kind of pump gets sold into, right? You got a pump here, mercilessly sold into, and I mean Link USD, kind of same story as Dogecoin, where it just bleeds out, right? And any kind of pump is just for selling, basically. And this is the same story where most of the Link guys bought in above $10. It's 11 now, but there's a bunch of people that bought in quite high, right? That's just kind of how the retail end of the game looks like, right? You buy this shit because your grandma told you about it, and then you lose all your savings. Just how it goes. It's going all the way back down, isn't it? Yeah, Dogecoin is, but that's gonna take like I think not even a year. I think like 2 or 3 years. It's gonna take like 2 or 3 years for this to like full retrace. But I think there's gonna be pumps along the way. So like even if this like dumps, I think there's a good chance that it has like 2x, 3x, 4x, and then like starts bleeding again. It goes down, it pumps again, 2x, 3x, and then it keeps on doing that until all hope is gone and it just like dumps below 100 sats, and then from there it might get interesting again. But I don't think like I think the Doge saga is over. Besides just some relief pumps, basically. That's kind of my view. But don't take it as gospel. Just kind of make up your own mind. But I think Doge has done what it's was supposed to do, which is basically get retail to buy other people's bags. Obviously not my kind of dream world where just retail gets smoked by buying stupid shit, but it's just how the space works. For all others that ask for Litecoin, the duck overread very likely all my questions. Did you ask about Litecoin? We talked about Litecoin plenty. I talked about it like more than anything else, and it's going up. So, I mean, yeah, it's going up nice. But there's not that much to say. Like, look at this chart. Even if you're excited, and I mean, I'm making a bunch of money as well if this goes up. Even if you're excited, like, what's there to be excited about? Before this does like a 2x, we don't even need to talk about it. Um, Elon might make Doge holding compulsory to get a Twitter check mark. Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the only thing that I think could make Doge have an exit pump. Because it's very, very obvious that people want to get out of this thing, right? People are mercilessly selling into any kind of pump that they get, even if there's a chance, like you look at this, right? And you see legitimately see like the Elon influence. And every time it happens, anytime there's any liquidity, people just mercilessly sell into it. And I think that that's just like coins go through cycles, right? It's the same with Link that went through its cycle on its own, right? It went up and there was nothing that could stop it. on the upward slope, and then there's nothing that can stop it on the downward slope. And it's the same thing with Doge, where yeah, there might be a pump here and there, but it's very likely not going to make a new all-time high. Not this cycle anyway. Maybe next one. It's Elon selling? Possible. I don't wanna I don't wanna make assumptions though. It doesn't really make much sense, right? I have no idea. He's quite rich, so I'd be surprised if he had to. But yeah, you can think about that what you want. I don't think it makes much sense to speculate about that. I actually speculated though, and some of you might remember this at the Doge bottom, where I was like making speculations that the bottom buys were Elon's, like he bought a bunch in like the 20 sats region. I still maintain that belief. Saw him in the order books. But yeah, that's that. Any other questions before I go? I think it's been fun. Um, but yeah, I have a round of billiard to play. Is that the English word as well? I think billiard, right? Yeah. I think it's the same in German and English. XRP still on the radar. I've not really been looking at it too much, but it's still chilling at support-ish. So still the same setup, I guess. But the monthly actually closed below support. So I don't know. Like XRP is a tough one. I tried. I made a bunch of money. Like it's way, way over the top. But I bought it a couple times. It pumped, and then I sold into it because I just didn't have any follow through. Um, and right now, like I don't know. Would I be buying XRP right now? Not really. No. Um, this is more of the one of the trades that I would watch. Like this is one of the ones that I would watch closely to see if there's any SEC related news that I can take advantage of. But I don't want to be stuck in an XRP position of all things for like a year or two before there's any news that comes out about the SEC case. You say your friends are normies, but they can take 3 weeks vacation in April, June. I should be working in Germany. Yeah, I mean, you have pretty good living conditions in Germany. That's it. Like you don't have to like the normies. I mean, this sounds just stupid, but like even like normal people can take vacations like that every year. Um, but yeah, you're probably told that like I mean it's true, right? We pay a lot of taxes, but you get by. You get by. Doug, you're brilliant all around, but the Elon takes are really midwit. Just forget about that name. Um, I mean, sure thing. I don't really care if you agree or disagree with me on my Elon takes. I don't like the guy personally, um, but it doesn't really influence anything too much besides not liking the guy. Did you see staking is now tax free after 1 year in Germany? Yeah, but dude, if you're staking for a year, if especially if you're locking up the coins for a year, you're gonna come back and it's gonna be 95% down. It's just how staking works. Um, but yeah, if you like long-term stuff and you find something that you want to stake long-term, be my guest. There's something that I just don't do. Not gonna stake anything for a year. It's just crazy to me. Duck, can you check Ape? Sure thing. But Ape, there's so much news and stuff around, right? What is that drawing? There's so much news and stuff coming around, going around, whatever, that my commentary is pretty useless because they could be giving out like a new whatever tomorrow, and then you'd have to react in real time, right? So like TA doesn't really help you too much. But it's basically in this indecisive, and this is something that you can draw and take advantage of from time to time when you like when you get like massive dumps or pumps or whatever. There's like this line or like this area in here where the market's just indecisive, and the market oftentimes goes into those areas because it doesn't really have to make. I mean, I'm talking like the market has a mind, but the market mind is basically a bunch of people that are trading it, right? Um, and the market oftentimes, when like after big dumps, it goes into like an area where it doesn't invalidate either side, right? So in this case, it dumped all the way to support and then bounced just enough, right? I mean, this is the support level, and it bounced just enough to get somewhere where there's a resistance or where there's like where it would have to make a choice, right? Because above like 17, it starts looking better again, and then it's just in that area. It's oftentimes the case. Like you oftentimes find after big dumps, you find these kind of like small areas where it can move without actually like getting into any kind of invalidation area. In this case, um, I mean, there's so much news, I just wouldn't be trading it. Obviously, it's one of the better places to trade volume-wise and stuff, but there's just too much stuff going on. But yeah, if you want to be trading it, you can make like a momentum play if you want to above like 16 or $17. But I could see that just fail because you have a bunch of resistances up here, right? So like that, this is like the safe place. But even then, this is not really safe. Ape is quite huge. There's a bunch of news. There's a bunch of like commotion. Honestly, like with these kind of things, I would much rather trade them um, off of uh, off of sentiment, off of the news, the hype cycle, and everything else. But if you absolutely have to, right? I think the best way to kind of use TA on these things is just draw out lines very far from price and then interact with them from time to time, right? So, like, let's say we dumped here, right? We went all the way down to support, and then you can take a stab at that support, run it into the next resistance, and then that's that. There's huge volume and there's huge interest, so the moves are going to be quick. Um, and then you just get out again and wait for the next opportunity. That's like the way I would trade these things, not necessarily, okay, I'm going to buy this for $50 or whatever, because this is pretty tough. But it's been trending upwards, been having like decent price action, but like I said, a lot of this price action is based on news. So yeah, it's not, this is like this kind of trading is not necessarily my expertise, and it's not really something that I want to just say, okay, yeah, it's bullish above like 16 because it could easily go to 20 and then get rejected. And if I say, okay, it's going to be bullish above this resistance, there's a good chance that it has like a secondary top there and then goes back down. So like TA wise is a tough one. You can draw the levels, and if it overextends, like if it goes too fast in one direction or the other, you can take advantage. Like with this stump, right? Went too fast into support, and then you can just take a stab at the support and either sell like at the first resistance or second resistance. And if it does that again, right? Like let's say it runs up to 21 or something, and then dumps back down again quite sharply, you can just draw out the next support and do the same thing again. Other than that, it's just investing, in my opinion. There's not really any kind of long-term trades to be had on a chart that is just a few days old, and that is just in the news focus so much, in my opinion. Hope it helps anyway, but yeah, it's pretty tough. I know that most people are trading this kind of stuff now, but um, it's not necessarily where TA, like classical TA, just shines, and that's something that you have to know. So yeah. Doug, can you check AVAX before you wrap up? Just because you asked so nicely. AVAX actually, it's gonna be sad for you though if you're on the bullish side of things because AVAX actually looks quite shit. And I mean, I'm obviously like it's pumping hard right now, but the reason why I'm saying it looks quite shit is because it fell out of the range it's been in. And obviously it's gonna start look to look much, much better if it gets back into the range. But you don't want to be assuming that a range breakout is false before it actually proves to be false, right? It's the same thing to the upside. Um, I mean, you had a false breakout here. The moment you go back into the range, the target is the low of the range. You have like a false breakout if this is a false breakout. So if you're right to be bullish, um, and then like the moment you start closing back into the range, you can target the range high or higher. Like if you're really bullish in these kind of instances, it doesn't really make much sense to just target the range high. You can target higher, but it has to prove that first. And right now, it's basically just it broke through the trading range and is now retesting it. So like AVAX, like just purely technical, just basically invalidated the bullish setup. And on the USD pair, it's a little bit more choppy, but it's the same thing where it broke. We can just move this line because this is more accurate, like it's more recent. And it's retesting it right now. But obviously starts looking much better if it goes back above 80, but that's quite far away, right? So it doesn't really help you much. But just given the BTC pair, it's not one that I would want to be trading. There's other stuff around that hasn't done what AVAX has done. And if it's a false breakout, right, I think you're going to see it on the Bitcoin pair with that range. But yeah, I know why you're asking me because like this just seems super choppy, and it is kind of. But the Bitcoin pair is really clean. So hope that helps. You're trying to catch a short. Well, I mean, if you're trying to catch a short, right? 78 is as close to invalidation as you can be, because your invalidation at that point is like 100-ish, and then you target all the way down to 40. That's like the short play if you want to take the short play. As close at 78 as possible. And then obviously if it starts closing above 78, you're already starting to get invalidated and you get out of the way and count your blessings. So yeah, that's that. I think we've talked enough, but it's been fun. Really appreciate you guys coming by. Um, Always nice to have people to talk to in these things. And I mean, always nice to kind of, yeah, be able to have a back and forth because if it was just a video, I'd get bored really quick. But I don't really mind doing it on live stream. So yeah, love you guys. Appreciate you coming by. Always appreciate FTX also for being the sponsor of the show. Their links are in the description. And yeah, we'll see each other probably on Friday if nothing crazy happens, which I mean, I'm sure there will, but I'm pretty sure Friday is going to be a thing. So see each other on Friday. If not, I'll just write on Twitter or something. See ya. Bye bye.